Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Black Ops 4 video. In tonight's video, we are going to be talking about one of the SMGs that I really have been liking a lot in this game, especially when you play it right and use it to its mobility and to its ability to win by being mobile and by being so darn good at close range and in those close quarters, strafing side-to-side scenarios. We're going to talk about a best class up for the Switchblade X9 in tonight's video, also some tips and tricks for using this weapon and other stuff like that. If you guys could smack a like on this video, let's go ahead and go for 520 likes. It only takes half a millisecond to smack that like button, so please go ahead and do that. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and not already subscribed, and let's get right into this. So this gameplay here is one where the first round, it was a little bit too tough because they were all sort of overwhelming, swarming over on B. So I took my time, sort of used this weapon around the outskirts, got my kill streaks up, and then used my kill streaks towards a second round sort of push. I get on some nice little streaks here in this first round and just start stacking some streaks up, and then the second round I really unload on them and use all those streaks and that power of those to play the objective and to get control and essentially dominate the map on domination. So let's go ahead and talk about the class setup for this weapon. First of all, this weapon is very good at close range, but when it comes to anything other than like right up close within probably about a 10, maybe like, yeah, 10 foot, 15 foot radius, this weapon does become a little bit harder to use. So my tip and trick, first of all, is if you are trying to fight people at range, don't do it. You just want to hit them once or twice, get that damage in and get out of there. Maybe one of your teammates will finish off the kill because of assists basically counting as kills with how many points you get in this game. That can be very, very helpful. But this weapon, you want to stick to, it works perfectly. It's literally made for this map, I feel, Morocco, because this class setup and everything, just the way that I'm maneuvering, this weapon works amazing. And I've been able to have gameplays that are essentially like pretty much the same or around the same score lines on this map multiple times just by doing this same strategy with this weapon. So we'll go ahead and talk about the class setup and talk about what you guys can make with your class setup to use this weapon to its max potential. Now, first of all, with attachments, we have 3 attachments on this thing. Now, attachments are probably the most important part of any class setup. I would say attachments and gear are the most important part of class setups in Black Ops 4. Perks are very important as well, but they're not as important as they have been in previous games. But we do have one sort of unique perk that works really well with this class setup as well. But first, we'll go through the attachments. So 3 attachments on this weapon. First attachment, hybrid mags. Pretty much no explanation needed for that. It's just the best attachment. On this weapon, you're going to be rushing people at close range. Hybrid mags gives you basically a little bit of extended mags and a little bit of fast mags, and it's pretty much needed. So go ahead and throw on hybrid mags. Don't think too much about it. That attachment, you're pretty much going to want to use 99.9% of the time when using this weapon. Maybe not that much, but 95% of the time. Coming in at the second attachment is going to be the stock. And the reason why I run stock, now, I know stock is available on a lot of SMGs. On some of them, I like to run it, like something like a SOG. On other ones, I don't run it as much. But on this weapon, with just how mobile it is and what it's made for, the close range, sort of strafing side to side, that is how the majority of my gunfights go in this game. I don't think the hipfire on this weapon is the strongest unless you're like right up in their face. So I'm always trying to aim down sights, and I'm always trying to strafe side to side and essentially hit my shots before the enemies hit me. You can see right here, I'm just strafing side to side, getting some damage in. Right there again, get some damage in, let someone else finish off the kill. I think it was my strike team anyway that finished off the kill there. So that's why I like to run stock. I think it works perfectly, and this SMG was made for it. And then my third attachment is going to be quick draw, basically because there are a lot of other attachments that can be good on this weapon. Rapid fire can be dope, grip can be dope, but with the quick draw, the thing about quick draw is that it just goes with this weapon. Hybrid mags, stock, and quick draw. You're getting your gun up quick, you're running around, and the thing I said about the hip fire, you also like that with quick draw. So in the situations where I'm trying to spray hip fire, I want to maybe start shooting as a hip fire, pull that trigger first, and start moving side to side, but you want to aim down sights as soon as possible. And with the way everything works so fast on this weapon, unless you get caught in a stupid reload like I did there, you should be able to slay out. So those are the 3 attachments. When it comes to the next part of the class setup for the gear, now, of course, the gear is basically, honestly, when it comes to a class setup, the gear is kind of interchangeable. Like this game, I was running the ComSec device. Obviously, the ComSec device is not ideal for this sort of play style because you want the fast heals of the stim shot. So if you're going for more gun-on-gun action, you would definitely want the stim shot. But what I was doing is I wanted to get a nice gameplay for my YouTube YouTube channel, so I wanted to get some streaks. I wanted to use those streaks to control the game and to keep the enemy in their spawn, where I could then basically go to town, use this weapon around the outskirts, and on this side, use it around this middle building, pushing, moving side to side. You always want to be moving from situation to situation or place to place so the enemies can't track you as well. So the gear is sort of interchangeable. This gameplay had the ComSec, but if you want to go for more gun on gun, of course you're going to want to go with a stim shot. Now, when it comes to the actual perks that I'm using, no perk 1 on this weapon. I was using Tac Mask at first, and I think like in this gameplay as well, but I quickly realized with this class setup, there's really no point. I would rather take that slot from Tac Mask and wipe out and go with no first perk and go with a perk 3 Dead Silence, just because if people are using acoustic sensor, it really can ruin your gameplay. Even if just one decent player has acoustic sensor, especially on a rushing class like this, even if they don't, maybe if some people have their headsets turned up, and also it just is annoying hearing your own footsteps as well. So Dead Silence is used as my perk 3, and then I actually stack up on the perk 2s with this weapon, which is kind of unique, but I think something that, like I was talking about everything earlier, strafing, mobility, up close and personal, using this weapon in different corridors. The thing about the perk 2s that I run is, of course, I'm running Gung Ho. Get your gun up quicker. You want to have Gung Ho, one of the most important perks in this game. But I also run with the second perk 2, which you don't see me do this too often, honestly, because more of a playstyle. For most of the playstyles that work best in this game, it's not the best. But on SMGs and up close and personal, yes, it is one of the best. Gung Ho, and then I pair it with dexterity, and that's what I rock as far as the perks. With that, I'm able to keep my aim when I'm jumping around, slide, mantling. You get sort of advantages on that, as well as swapping weapons and other things, which of course I don't have a secondary, but if you are able to pick one up. So this is a weapon that is absolutely awesome, and you can see right there, don't try to pick people off at range. I think that's where a lot of people who don't like this weapon, like, don't even try it. I tried it there. I shouldn't have even. I should have shot some damage in and just gotten out of there, put some damage into the next player, let the teammates finish those off, because this weapon is, I mean, especially if you don't have like anything to control the recoil on it, I mean, it does kick a little bit, and the damage at range is pretty weak. It's made for that up close and personal playstyle, and that's what we have as far as the class setup. So full class setup is hybrid mags, stock, quick draw, gear. You can either go with stim shot or ComSec device depending on your objective, and then I rock with Gung Ho, dexterity, and then perk 3 coming in as Dead Silence. So general tips on this weapon: yes, a map like this, a map like Summit, those are the maps where you're going to want to. This weapon is limited because there's certain weapons where you can kind of, like something like a KN or a Peacekeeper, you can kind of use that on pretty much every map because they're sort of made for all sorts of different gunfights. But a weapon like this, I mean, you have to, sure, you could pull it out on probably any map. I wouldn't recommend it though. I would recommend using this weapon for what it's made for. And when you get into a situation like this, or on a map like this, Summit, other things like that, corridors, small corridors, strafing, moving side to side, and where the enemies spawn and where you shoot them from the spawn is closer. So you're not in a situation like that where, once again, just a little bit too far out of range. It doesn't seem like it's that far out of range, but then you get absolutely wrecked because of that weapon, and that is a huge weakness of it. So you want to avoid those gunfights completely as much as possible. So you can see here in the second round of domination, now we got the class setup out of the way, let's talk about the kill streaks that I was using and basically what I was able to do in the second round with them. So I'm getting my kill streaks, and I'm using my kill streaks to get map control. Once your kill streaks are up, you get some kills on the ground as well. The kill streaks start doing some work. You can see their double kill with the strike team. Right there, I do die, but you're able to make the push, or your team is able to push up and sort of take more territory. Sort of like the war game mode from, what was it, Call of Duty World at War. It sort of feels like that, and you could sort of think of domination as like a mini version of that in a way. Of course, spawn flips completely changed that, but you know what I mean. Look at this. The strike teams are running through that building, so on B domination, I just had to stand on it for a little bit, and then it was so safe, I didn't even stay on it for the entire capture because the teammate felt safe to be able to stay on it. So essentially, you push back into their spawn, and the thing with domination in this game, you're going to get quite a few spawn flips. I mean, that is with domination in pretty much any game, especially when you're playing something like a 5v5 or 6v6. If you get up in that spawn, and with the small to medium sized maps, they will flip, but I know my rush routes, and I'm able to, use it, and I was going to go down that left side. That was going to be the rush route to maneuver back to that spawn. Of course, Call of Duty timing just caught me off guard right there, but you want to know these routes that you're going to use. I like to play the outskirts of this map, and then play on, if I'm playing the middle areas, make sure I'm in those tight doorways and places where I'm able to use this weapon to its full advantage, where basically just based on the time to kill, the efficiency of my weapon, and just strafing a little bit, unless they hit every single shot and get their gun up quick, they don't have really too good of a chance of winning many gunfights, except when I'm just, not winning those gunfights by not getting my gun up quick and not being confident going around that corner right there. I should have came around that corner strafing. I stood still like I had an assault rifle, and I got killed for it. Right there, you can see how I rushed that player like I had an SMG, charging at the player, being mobile. That's what you have to do. You can notice in the gunfights that I'm winning versus the gunfights that I'm losing, there's a trend. It's usually more at range, and I'm usually standing more still. The more mobile you can be, and the more you can just be slaying enemies, healing, slaying enemies, and keeping those gunfights into your situations like this, that's where this weapon will succeed. Thanks for watching, y'all. Drop a like. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and that's about it. I'll catch you on the next one, and I'm out. Peace.